nudged her arm, glaring at Jungkook and Elise. Ryan sighed, staring at them gloomily. That won't change anything. Rumi says Jungkook loves her a lot. She looked away from them, unable to see them smiling and talking. Stella placed her hand on Ryan's shoulder and squeezed it gently. Maybe Rumi is just spreading rumors. Did Mr. and Mrs. Jung tell you something about them? Ryan shook her head in denial. No, but since I have married him, Jungkook has been cold towards everyone but Elise, she said in a low tone. Did you talk it out? I never had the nerve to ask him. His cold attitude stops me. They have seen if this turns out to be true. I swear I'll kill them with my bare hands. She spoke furiously, holding her fist in the air. Ryan chuckled. They are not blood related. Elise is his father's adopted sister. Ryan glanced back at them. I thought I would find love in this marriage, but now I can't see it coming. She bit her lips. Stella stared at her with concern. Love makes its way, Ryan. You have wasted your love on the wrong person. It will find its way back to you. Ryan stared at Jungkook as Elise leaned into his ear and whispered something, causing him to smile. Letting out a deep sigh, Ryan looked away, clutching the hem of her shirt. Well, as I said, the wrong person. Ryan is here. Ryan turned towards her sharply. Ryan, she clenched her jaw. Stella nodded. Meanwhile, Jungkook was sipping on his drink while glancing at Ryan from time to time when Elise leaned into his ear. We know she's beautiful and of course yours. Stop gawking like a creep. She spoke playfully, he smiled, looking down. I'll stare at her however I like. No one can stop me, dear aunt. He turned to her. Anyways, when will you reveal your marriage to Grandma and Dad? He asked with raised brows. Elise let out a sigh. Soon, but I'm scared. What if Rumi schemes something? She has been spreading rumors about you and me to separate from Orion. Jungkook's gaze darkened. She must be up to something. She showed up on my wedding day and disappeared after a few days. Elise frowned. She did, Jungkook nodded. What if she told Ryan these things? She spoke worriedly. How is your relationship with Ryan? Has she asked you anything? She hasn't asked anything. She knows you are my aunt, so why? He stopped running his fingers in his hair. Why didn't I thought about it earlier? You have been married for 4 months now, yet you are so oblivious. We have always interacted formally. Ellie stared at him with disbelief. So good of you, Jungkook. You mean you haven't taken any further steps in your relationship? This cool behavior of yours might make you lose mine. You should be thankful for her because she still hasn't left you. He glared at her. Shut up, why would she leave me? Ellie rolled her eyes. I just don't know how to take a step further. He scratched his neck. You are impossible, Jungkook. She turned around. You must help me with it, Elise. She walked away, waving her hand while Jungkook followed her. Ryan met Stella's friends and talked for a while. She saw Ryan, who had his persistent gaze on her. Feeling uncomfortable by his persistent gaze, Ryan walked to her previous spot, where she saw Jungkook following Elise. Her heart ached at the sight. A few minutes had passed when everyone gathered around the dance floor. Ryan watched them silently when she heard a deep voice close to her ear. Will you dance with me? She turned to look at Ryan, who was staring at her with admiration. She moved away from him, but Ryan held her. What the hell are you doing? Leave me. He held her by the waist and dragged her to the dance floor. It's just a dance, Ryan. Besides, we can have a few words. Ryan looked around, trying to break free from his embrace. Have some shame, Ryan. I'm married and my husband is here. Meanwhile, Jungkook came inside after bidding farewell to Elise, who told him to join the dance floor with Ryan and take it slowly. As soon as he saw Ryan on the dance floor with an unfamiliar person, his excitement died down. He clenched his jaw, shooting daggers at them. This is inappropriate, Ryan. We have nothing to talk about. She pushed him and walked away. Jungkook went towards the bar and poured down the beer. Okay, Ryan. At least let me apologize. He held her arm. Stop touching me, Ryan. She warned him. What do you want to apologize for? Do you want to make up an excuse for cheating? Cheating is always a choice. I forgive you, so please leave me alone now. Ryan stared at her guiltily. I know I have hurt you. As you said, cheating is always a choice. I won't refuse it. My grade left me with nothing. I thought I would win Kate's dad favor, marry her and get over his company. Ryan clenched her fist and let out a sigh. You got what you wanted, Ryan. We are both on different paths now. Let's not see each other ever again. Ryan stared at her without blinking. I regret it. I can't forget you. He rubbed his palm over his face. Okay, just... Ryan nodded hesitantly. Ryan picked up a glass from the nearby waiter who was roaming around them from past few minutes. Ryan took the glass and gulped it in one go. That's it. I love my husband and I'm happy with him. I hope we don't see each other again. Ryan nodded while Jungkook appeared out of nowhere and took Ryan's hand in his. Let's go home, he said, feeling a bit tipsy. Ryan nodded and followed him out without sparing a glance at Ryan. Who was he? My ex. Jungkook remained silent, his expression strained. He couldn't neglect the way how lovingly Ryan stared at Ryan. They arrived home in a silent drive while Ryan's body was heating up. Jungkook lifted her and walked her to their shared bedroom. He laid her on the bed with a frown. Are you not feeling well? He asked, leaning towards her. Ryan shook her head, scratching her neck and undressing herself. Jungkook swiftly held her hands. What are you doing? Should I call a doctor? No, I don't want a doctor. She wrapped her arms around his neck and pulled him closer. I want you. She kissed him down to his neck. Jungkook groaned and moved away from her. You might regret it later. She shook her head. I won't, but you would because Elise will be angry at you. She whispered and continued undressing. Jungkook pinned her hands above her head. Elise is just my aunt. She groaned, leaning her face towards his. Jungkook knew she was in no condition to talk about it. He kissed her passionately while with each passing moment Ryan was turning desperate and wild throughout the night. Time skip. It's been more than a month since then. The next day Jungkook tried to talk to Ryan about his and Ellie's relationship, but she didn't want to hear anything. Jungkook thought to talk to her when she calmed down. After a few days, Ryan left to Stella's house without informing Jungkook. She was so disheartened that she didn't realize how did she end up in that condition. He was going nuts finding her while then Ryan went to her parents' house to stay. Coincidentally, Jungkook also arrived there and wanted to take her back with him, but Ryan refused, saying she didn't meet her parents since their wedding. Ryan's mom also insisted Jungkook let her stay for a few days. Jungkook wanted to explain to Ryan, but she didn't even answer his calls and blocked him. Today, Ryan came to the hospital with Stella for checkup as her pregnancy test was positive. Why are you so nervous, Ryan? It will be fine. She squeezed her hand reassuringly. Ryan just nodded, tapping her foot on the floor. Will you tell Jungkook about your pregnancy? I don't know. He wanted to explain things, but I wasn't ready to hear anything. Ryan listened him out. 1 month is enough to stay away from everything and clear your mind. Don't let this misunderstanding break your family. She spoke softly. Rumi was constantly calling me and sending pictures of Elise and Jungkook in restaurants. I didn't know what else to do. It was too much. She pushed her fingers and looking down. This Rumi is weird. Why does she keep informing you about them? She took her both hands. Ryan talked about it to Jungkook. He might have met Elise due to some other reasons. After all, she is his aunt. Yes, I have thought about it. Once we go from here, I want to talk to him about it and make things clear, or else this will make me crazy. The nurse came and told Ryan it's her turn. Ryan nervously made her way towards the doctor's cabin and absent-mindedly entered without looking at the person seated behind the desk. He stopped seeing her. Ryan, his voice brought her back to her senses. Jungkook? She mumbled inaudibly. Jungkook stood and walked over to her. Ryan was frozen at her spot, not knowing what to do. Why are you here? Are you? He placed his hand on her belly. Are you pregnant? She gulped, biting her lips, and nodded. I wanted to perform the ultrasound. He held her shoulders. And you had no intention to tell me. I wanted to tell you after the checkup. She lowered her head. Jungkook held her chin and lifted her face. Why did you leave me? He grabbed her jaw and pulled her closer. Her lips twitched and tears rolled down her eyes. You have been cool towards me always. Every time you're seen with Elise, one-sided efforts would never make anything work. Elise is more important to you than anything, she said in a low tone. Jungkook wiped her tears and rubbed her face. Elise is just my aunt and best friend. We grew up like siblings. Those are just rumors spread by Rumi. And Elise is even married. She looked at him surprised. Married? He nodded. Rumi sent me the pictures of you and Elise in the restaurant. You were hugging her. She spoke looking down. Rumi is really vicious. She has always been hostile towards us. I don't know why. He drew a deep breath. Elise had a miscarriage. Rumi caused it. That's why she met me. Wayne's eyes widened, and she had even spiked the drink that you drank. What? She's so cruel. Why does she hate Elise? He tucked the hairstrand behind her ear. Because she loves Elise's husband. Wayne nodded, biting her lips. Leave about others. He snaked his arm around her waist and pulled her closer. You have to pay for a lot. She frowned, holding on to him. For what? For dancing with your ex. He pulled her even closer. For leaving me and not hearing out my explanation. She grabbed his collar. What about you? You also have to pay for being so cool towards me and not giving me attention. He moved his face closer to hers. My attention has always been on you, but you never noticed. He pressed his lips on her cheek. His lips felt like a feather on her cheek. He trailed kisses all over her face and captured her lips. Do you like me? She pulled away. Seems like I should show you more briefly. He muttered over her lips and swept her off the floor. Wayne gasped, encircling her arms around his neck. Jungkook walked over his desk and sat her. Wait, where is Rumi now? She asked curiously as Rumi hadn't contacted her again. Rotting in jail. With that, he pressed his lips against her. Wayne tangled her fingers in his hair and deepened the kiss. Time skip. Jungkook and Wayne were blessed with a baby girl who is now 8 months old. All this time, Jungkook and Wayne built a strong bond. Their trust in each other was unbreakable and their love for each other deepened. Now Wayne entered the room where Jungkook was playing with his daughter, who was giggling and sucking his nose. Has someone seen my husband John Jungkook? I can't find him. She looked around the room with a serious expression. Jungkook smiled, picking up Hannah and walked towards Wayne. Oh, your husband. The last time I saw him with the little princess, exploring the land of toys and giggles. Should I send a search party or maybe a snack party to lure them back? I rolled her eyes and took Hannah from him, but she began crying out loud, causing her to frown. Hey, you made my princess cry. She gave her back to him. Just keep your princess with you. I am a nobody anyway. Now go and change her diaper and clothes. She walked towards the bed, picking up the scattered toys. My baby is angry. He walked behind Wayne, who ignored him. Hey, love, you can't ignore me like this. She turned to him sharply. The baby is in your arms. Whom are you talking about? He felt like she was about to cry. Of course, my queen. He kissed her on the forehead. I won't fall for your sugar-coated words. You must change her diaper and clothes. Hannah was stretching out her hands. Wayne picked her up and kissed her cheek softly. Jungkook stared at them lovingly and went to bring her clothes and diaper. Hand it to me. She took the clothes and diaper. You go and change. Elise will be here soon. She spoke dryly. Jungkook just stared at her. After a few moments, he went to change. Wayne was ready with Hannah, who had fallen asleep. Jungkook came out silently and encircled his arms around her waist. Are you mad at me? He pressed his cheek against her temple. Do you care? He tightened his grip around her. Of course I do. He kissed her temple. She hummed in response. You haven't given me enough time since Hannah was born. She looked at him, Jungkook smiled, pecking her lips. All my time is yours, love. Don't tell me you're jealous of Hannah. He playfully said, holding her jaw, and rolled her eyes. Seems like I have to go to my parents' house. You don't want me anyway. I'll show you tonight how much I want you. Wayne smiled with raised brows. I would be waiting impatiently, she said with a smile. Don't tease me. He pecked her lips several times, causing her to giggle. You're so dramatic. A few moments ago, I thought you would just burst into tears. I was about to fall for your act. Wayne chuckled, turning to him and kissing him wildly.